What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Halftime with Bizzy. Today we have an individual who is making waves in the map creating scene. He's the man behind the Inferno Nighttime map that has been getting a load of positive feedback on the Steam Community Workshop. Today's guest goes by the name of Angel, and we talk a lot about his beginnings in creating maps, how creating maps has changed now that we have CS2, and we dabble a little bit into the future on what he has planned and what he would like to do. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. I cannot thank you every single time we air another episode for all of the support, man. I fucking love you guys. I'm going to put my Twitter up here on screen. You guys should go check it out if you guys want to stay up to date with. I like to get feedback from you guys, and a lot of you guys have a lot of great things to say, and I love reading all of the comments that you guys give me. And I will also plug my main YouTube channel as well that I'm trying to grow. I have a bunch of videos that I'm working on right now. They're all listed out on my whiteboard. It's taken a lot to get them done, but I'm slowly chipping away at them. Without further ado, let's get into it. Hey man, can you hear me?
Oh, that sounds so much better.
Perfect. What's going on, dude?
Yeah, it's going good. How about you?
Yeah, it's going good, man. Well, let's talk about the introduction to CS. How did you get started playing, and how long ago do you think it was?
That's a tough question because depending on how long you want this to go on for, I could give you like a 10-minute answer or a 10-hour answer.
Okay. Well, whatever you think is the best.
I have to put the timeline straight in my head. This is not a question I get asked often, actually. I think it was in school, maybe like third or fourth grade,
Oh,
when we would
geez.
have like these not computer science, but like computer classes when they try to teach how to use computers and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And naturally, when the teachers were bored or they would leave, we would just set up a LAN and just
No
play games.
way. That's so badass.
Yeah, some of the teachers we had would just be like, okay, you guys clearly know how to use computers. I'm just gonna leave you to whatever.
Oh my god, that's
And
amazing. That's the best story I've had yet.
yeah, and that's how I got introduced to CS. It's like teachers would just leave and we would just shoot up a party, a LAN party, and just play CS 1.6.
Wow.
Because you have to imagine the computers we had were kind of ancient in that old school, but they could play 1.6 just fine.
My god, that is honestly the sickest story I've had on the show so far. That is
Really?
so, oh yeah, that's awesome, man.
But yeah, from that, I also started playing it at home, I guess, with friends. And that was, I don't know when that was. That was maybe 2014, 2015, something like that.
Okay.
It wasn't that long ago. But then at some point, a few years passed by, and then like, yo, there's like this newish Counter-Strike game called CS:GO. You guys wanna try that out? And then I was kind of suspicious of it at first because I was like hard stuck with my 1.6 still. And I still had like a really shitty laptop back then that could like barely even run CS:GO. I think back then on the old Dust 2 I would get like 50 FPS tops.
Oh, holy crap, that's like unplayable.
Oh yeah, I mean it was playable enough for me as a kid,
Yeah, for sure.
but
But
at some point,
today's standards, not so much.
oh oh god, I think then in like 2016, 2017, and that's so weird to think about. CS:GO was still kind of newish back then.
Yeah, yeah, it really was. It was not that old.
Yeah, that's when we started playing Go, I think, and we all sucked at competitive, like so hard.
You
Because you
more,
have to imagine we were coming from the 1.6 mindset.
yeah, for sure. You guys were more casual players, maybe, or
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
okay,
So instead, we started playing workshop maps. So, but yeah, that spills into something else. I guess that's how I got introduced to Counter Strike.
okay, that's awesome. So, what got you interested in wanting to create workshop items? Were you always interested in level designing and whatnot growing up, or was this something that kind of just hit you later on in life?
Yeah, good question. I almost spilled a bit into that in the first answer. Yeah, I guess I was always a bit of a technical person. I always liked making like these complicated things or always like tackling on complicated things, but computer stuff and level design was never something I was considering. But then,
Okay.
as I said, we started playing these workshop maps in CS:GO, and one of the main things we would make like a huge party and just play that with hide and seek maps.
Oh, nice.
If
Yeah.
if you know what those are.
Yes, classic. We used to play those all the time on my server.
Oh yeah, we used to play the all Dust to hide and seek so much.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
at some point, we played it so much, we found all the hiding spots, right? And then I was like, I mean, these people made custom workshop maps. Maybe I could also like take this map, make like a custom workshop map, and add more hiding spots so we could play more.
Wow, that's awesome.
And I didn't know what I was setting up myself for because it was a fucking nightmare. Like my fucking 14, 15-year-old ass trying to figure out mapping and how to do all these things.
There's a lot to learn from what I've heard.
Oh yeah, I kind of feel bad about the people I was bothering about back then. Because now I'm in that situation when people like that bother me. And when you're
Okay.
clueless, you have no idea. And you're so annoying without even knowing it. And I feel bad for the people I bothered in the Source Engine Discord back then, but yeah, somehow I managed to figure it out. And I asked the guy that made Dust to Hide and Seek if I could edit his map. I asked for permission first, if I could
Okay.
edit his map to add more hiding spots. So I did, and to play it, of course I put it on the workshop publicly because I didn't know you can make it like friends only and stuff like that. And I didn't expect much of it. We just kept playing with my friends on it. It was great. And then like a week later or so, a friend of mine goes like, "Wait, dude, this random edit you put on the workshop has like 5,000 subscribers."
Oh, wow. Did you guys
And you
do
have
any
to
type of promotion or did it just
no, it was just posted.
holy, that's insane.
You have to imagine for a dumb kid like me, never made anything before, seeing like 5,000 people playing that one thing was like, oh my god.
Like something that you technically made.
Yeah, I was going insane, man. I was like, oh my god.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I got started, I guess. I just really liked the idea that I could make things and have people actually enjoy them. I
Yeah,
really
for
like that
sure.
idea. So I guess from that I kind of learned more mapping, and for a few years I just kept making hide and seek maps. I think to this date, my most subscribed map is a hide and seek map.
Oh, awesome. So right back to your roots then.
Yes, I mean it's for CS:GO where you can't play it anymore, but yeah.
That's
So I kind
awesome.
of started with hide and seek maps just because we really liked playing that.
Right on. So when you started playing CS, did you kind of know that you would end up going into the direction of modding or creating maps, or were you kind of just like randomly one day you just said, "Oh, you know what? I'm gonna go and do this."
Yeah, no, I had no idea.
It's just something that just came upon you one day and then you just chase it.
I guess it was a bit natural because I used to play some other games that had map editors, and I also dabbled in that for a bit, but nothing like major.
Okay.
But I guess once I really just had no idea. We kind of just played funny hide and seek, haha, and then we got bored and wanted more hiding spots. So I was like, maybe I can add more. I really had no idea it would go to this.
So other than the your first hide and seek map that got 5,000 subscribers, were there any other maps that you created that were really well received by the community?
Yeah, I mean, once I realized that people actually want to play this stuff, I just like kept researching and like trying to get better at mapping, which by the way was so difficult at the start. Because when you like have no idea how all this technical stuff even works, it's so difficult to figure it out because you have no like background to go off of.
Yeah, for sure. It's kind of just trial and error, I could imagine.
It really was, yeah. And at some point during this, I got a proper PC. I ditched my old laptop because I think on my old laptop, compiling one edited version of the old Dust 2 in CSGO took like 8 hours.
8 hours?
8 hours. And that laptop
Holy.
was not happy. But at some point, I was like, okay, I think I know enough to make a hide and seek map from scratch. So I took Mirage and started editing that. and that one kind of evolved a bit more into like I started like adding all these new areas to the map and not just hiding spots where I made the map like twice as big as it used to be or something like that.
Oh, cool, cool.
Which I think was when I really realized, oh, maybe I don't just like adding hiding spots to maps. Maybe I kind of like this whole mapping thing to begin with. Maybe mapping is kind of fun.
Then you could start to create your own things outside of hide and seek, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So I made the Mirage hide and seek map, which did quite well. I think in the first like few weeks it got like 30,000 subs,
Okay. Okay. That's
which
really good.
was really good. By by today's comparison with most popular maps, that's nothing. But
Yeah.
you have to remember back then, to me, that was so huge.
Oh, for sure. And the player base has grown just tremendously huge
Oh
now.
yeah, I mean, if you really compare the player base to back then, it's like what? I don't even know how big it is. Like 8 times as big or something like that. It's
Oh, it's got to
incredible.
be up there, yeah. Like I don't even
But yeah,
think back then there was like a million players on at one time. I think it was just like maybe like seven, 800,000.
yeah, man, it was insane.
Now we've peaked over to all-time record being what 1.8 million at one time. This it's grown so much.
Oh, it's great, honestly, that it's grown so much because it just gives you like such a big player base that can play the stuff you make.
For sure. And a lot of people do. A lot of people, especially with the whole vax situation, a lot of people have been playing community workshop maps, because you
Mm-hmm.
just invite people that you know who aren't cheating and then you don't have to worry about it.
And I feel like in general, in the past 3 or 4 years, a lot of content creators have just like popularized playing workshop maps and like making entire series out of it.
Oh, big time. Nade King is a perfect example of that.
War Owl with the custom game modes.
Big time.
I mean, at some point, like I think it was 2 years ago, I started working for War Owl as well. But what was this question even about? We've derailed so hard.
It was what maps that you created that were received well from the community other than the first one that got 5,000.
Right, right. Okay, so I was going through the maps. Um, so yeah, I made that Mirage hide and seek map. Then
Yep.
I made a night version, which was kind of where I noticed that I kind of like doing lighting on maps and changing how they look. But then I made a Dust 2 hide and seek, which did quite well. But then I made Valve broke it in some weird update for some reason.
Oh,
And I
what the
made
hell?
literally it was literally the same map with fixed in the name because it was fixed. And that one, for some reason, got 250,000 subscribers.
Holy shit.
It got 10 times as much as the original non-fixed map for some reason.
And
So I guess that
again,
really goes to show you, you just roll the dice.
yeah, absolutely. And again, did you promote this or you just posted it and the people just started subscribing to it?
No, you just I didn't promote it at all. I just posted
Oh
it, and
my.
then it really is, do YouTubers like it and do they make videos about it? That's kind of how it spreads, I guess.
That's just incredible. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, that was insane to me back then. But yeah, the it was still a hide and seek map that was like my most popular to this date, I guess.
That's so cool
Even
to
though
hear
lately
that.
I've yeah,
Like, that's where
thanks.
you came
Yeah, even
from.
though
You
lately I
you started
Hmm?
playing the hide and seek maps and then now you're creating them and they're just like doing incredibly well. The community's loving them. They're well received. Like, that's got to hit home.
yeah, it's crazy, man. I'm considering making some new ones for CS2, but it's just a lot harder.
Oh, it's a lot harder?
Oh yeah. I
Oh,
mean, I think we can touch a bit on that when we talk about the technical side later, but you'll
okay.
see the stuff I had to pull. You'll see the stuff I had to pull just to make the Inferno Night map. That was so hard.
Okay. I was gonna ask you about
Okay.
that. Your Inferno Night map obviously is doing incredibly well right now. What struck you to modify Inferno this way? Even though it just seems like it's not a whole lot in the sense that it's just nighttime, but it gives it a whole new feel. Like what made you want to do something like this?
Hmm. Well, I kind of always liked doing lighting on maps. There's like an artistic side to me next to the coder side, I guess.
Okay.
I've done this for CSGO a few times. I think there's one hide and seek map where I made Mirage into night. And then in CSGO, I also turn Mirage into Night properly at some point, but I never really got much success with it. But then because CS2 is on like a modern engine and you can do so much more with it graphically, I was like, okay, maybe I should try this on CS2, see how it goes, because you can just do so much more things with it.
For sure.
And in that break I took from mapping, I learned Blender. Do you know Blender?
Yeah, for sure. Yep, it's like 3D modeling pretty much.
It's everything. It's 3D modeling, it's model creation, texture creation, rendering, it's everything.
Okay.
So in that break I took from mapping, I was like, okay, I have to learn this thing, so I kind of just focused on learning Blender and stuff. So by the end of it, I was quite good at Blender, I'd say. I was quite used to rendering and how this ray tracing stuff works and all these modern material things. So when CS2 released and it was on the Source 2 engine, I was like, oh, great. It's running on a modern engine that uses like ray tracing and stuff. This is exactly my bread and butter.
Yeah, for sure. Works hand in
So,
hand with what you
so
do.
yeah, exactly. So when CS2 released, I was like, oh my god, I can finally make stuff pretty now. Because to make stuff look good in CSGO on the Source 1 engine was really tricky. Because the engine being so old, you just had to use like a lot of tricks. So I found it a lot easier to make stuff look pretty on CS2. So that's when I got the idea to make Inferno Night, because I could still do all the pretty like lighting things and change things around and see how the new ray tracing works without having to make a new map from the ground up, because that's a lot of work.
Oh, absolutely.
I was looking for tools to decompile Source 2 maps, and I found Source 2 Viewer, which is like this great all-in-one tool for Source 2 that does everything. And I try to decompile Inferno, and what comes out of it is a broken mess. And I'm like, this isn't like CS:GO, because for CS:GO we had a decade worth of tooling work and people writing the compilation tools for it. Towards the end of CS:GO's lifetime, it was basically perfect. For CS2, we've had what not, but by that point we had like half a year of development. So I go in the SteamDB Discord server
Mm-hmm.
where Expo and Christy are. Expo, you know Expo?
No, I don't
He's
think I
the
do.
he's the guy that made SteamDB.
Okay, this is new news to me. I'm not sure.
Do you know SteamDB?
Yeah, I know SteamDB. Yeah.
Yeah, he made SteamDB, and he also made Source to Viewer.
Oh, he made that as well.
Yeah, and
Oh,
and
okay.
he and Christy. Christy is another maintainer of Source to Viewer who is the most active next to Expo. So I
Okay.
went in there completely clueless, and I was like, um, why the compiler no work? And then, and then they were like, yo, broski, this stuff ain't as easy as you think.
Damn.
And they kind of explained to me why it was so hard to decompile Source 2 maps. And without getting into the weeds of it and all the technical stuff, it's a completely new engine that works completely differently. So people just hadn't put in the work to figure it out. Christie
Oh.
was the compiler I was using back then was made by Christie, who had done
Okay.
most of the work to get it to like figured out to work in the first place. So there was some work done, but not much. And then I was like, okay, hear me out. I'll make it better. Because Source to Viewer is open source, it's all on GitHub, so you can look at all the code and contribute to it.
Okay.
So there begins my 2-month journey in learning C Sharp and learning how to make the decompiler better.
Wow.
Because I was really motivated to make this night map because I knew it would. I had this vision in my head that it would be so pretty.
Oh, for sure. And nobody had done it, I don't think, until you did it, unless I'm
I mean,
mistaken.
yeah, no one had because you just couldn't decompile maps properly. What came out of it was very fairly broken.
Damn. So you were like kind of the pioneer for the whole nighttime community maps in a sense.
I mean, kind of the pioneer for edited community maps in general because you just couldn't make edited maps otherwise.
Wow, that's
But
impressive.
I don't like taking all the credit because you have to keep in mind this is work on top of a source to viewer, which is an open source tool that hundreds of people have contributed to.
Okay, so it's
I'm
a giant
standing on the
group effort.
shoulders of giants. Yeah,
I
that's
got
how
what you're
open
saying.
source works. And I have to give credit to Expo and Christie as well, because they put up with my bullshit for like a whole month. When I was asking them incredibly dumb questions about how coding works, because I was completely clueless. And they weren't just like, oh my god, these are such dumb questions. Can you leave us alone? No. They actually showed me step by step how to do everything. Like they're the real MVPs.
Hey man, everyone's got to learn. You know what I mean? There's gonna be questions asked.
So I put in a bit of work to make the decompiler kind of work. And it worked just enough to where I could make my Inferno Night map. So after I made that, I was just like, okay, how how much can I improve this decompiler? Like, it would be great if more people could make stuff like this. And I put in the work of learning C sharp. At this point, might as well go further. And that's when my 2 month long journey into this started. Because one issue we had when we decompiled maps is that without getting in the technical details for this, when you edit maps in the map editor, you can edit the mesh and like how the models look, some of them in the editor, right?
Okay.
They're like hammer meshes, and you can move the faces around and make new geometry and edit the map. When we decompiled maps back then, there was none of that. Everything was like a static model you couldn't edit.
Oh, what
So
the
all you,
hell?
yeah, that's how Source 2 stores them. When the map is compiled, it makes everything static so the engine can load it faster. It like optimizes everything. So when we decompile that, turn it into an editable map, all we would have is the optimized stuff. So you couldn't edit it. All you could do is like maybe change entities around, change lighting, but that's it. You
Oh,
couldn't really
wow.
edit it.
So much more limited then.
Oh yeah, very much. It basically only worked to do stuff like what I did, like change the lighting around, and that's it.
At the time of recording this, the Inferno Nighttime map page has 36,000 viewers and 50,000 subscribers, and the comment section is flooded with positive feedback. Were you expecting all of this feedback, like, and all of the positivity from the community when you posted this?
I mean, this might sound like very arrogant of me, but I kind of expected this
Okay. Just because it was so
because
unique and something that wasn't really out there yet.
I just I I guess I made so many maps before this. I kind of knew how stuff worked,
Okay.
and as much as it pains me to say this, and it's kind of sad, but if you just keep getting success and things work out for you, at some point you just get used to it.
Oh, for sure. No,
Which
100%.
is sad because I kind of miss the. I still enjoy and I'm really happy when a map does well, but I really miss that like really wow factor when something got like so many subs that you had never gotten before.
Yeah, like that little spark inside of you, like, holy shit, like, I accomplished
Yeah,
that.
exactly. But
Mm-hmm.
once a high-end sig map of mine gets like 200,000 subs, then this map getting 50,000 doesn't feel like that much.
Yeah, because you set the bar higher for yourself, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's the hedonistic treadmill. You know that
Mm-hmm.
you just keep going. But I kind of expected this map to do well because I had worked so hard on it. It was 6 months in the making, basically, with
Six
all the work I did on the
months.
decompiler to make it work.
Holy
But
crap.
what kind of makes me happier about this map is not the success it had on the Steam Workshop, but kind of the success it had outside of that. On Twitter and in general, I feel like it got a lot of coverage from big people and on YouTube. But what gets me the happiest about it is that ESL covered it
ESL
on
covered it
this.
too?
Yeah, on the streams they actually showcased the map on the streams.
Holy shit, dude,
That's what
congrats.
makes me the happiest, I think.
That's like, that's the biggest exposure you could possibly get right there.
I'm really happy about it. Hold on, I think I can get a tweet for you.
Yeah, I would
They
definitely
also
like to
made
put
this
that on screen.
incredibly pretty cinematic, and I was so amazed when I saw this on the stream. It was so nice.
Yeah, like they didn't just put this on the screen and put your name on it. They like made sure it looked professional. That's crazy.
It, this is not the only map they showcased. This is kind of a normal thing they do when they showcase good workshop maps. But I'm just really glad my map made it in there as well. This is like a huge honor.
Oh, for sure. Especially like you worked 6 months on doing this, and right here it paid off automatically.
hmm I'm also just really proud of how well the map turned out. I think it looks really pretty.
Oh, that's so
Like this
awesome.
doesn't happen often, but it matched my artistic vision perfectly. Just because Source 2 is just such a good engine and you can just make things look so nice in it.
For sure. Do you have any plans on making any more nighttime maps in the future, or do you have like your eye on a different style of map that you're interested in making?
Oh yeah, totally. After I published Inferno Night, I was gonna make Overpass Night because I think it's also a really
Ooh.
pretty map to turn into night.
Were you
But
working
then they
on that
removed
with
it from the
Lily? You know Lily Q?
no 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 no. We'll get to that a bit later.
Okay,
But
okay.
I was gonna make I was gonna make Overpass, but then they removed it from the premiere queue.
Yeah, that's
And then I'm
so.
like, if this is a map no one's gonna play, no. And it kind of ruined my plans.
That sucks.
But yeah, about Lily and there has been a bunch of new people making night maps now ever since I did all that work on the decompiler.
Mm-hmm.
There has been a huge explosion in people making custom maps now. There's also the Nuke Night. Did you see it? Nuke After Hours.
Yeah, yeah. Me and my buddies actually played a game of that one. Yeah, that one was super cool.
That's also a great map. And I know Lily. I know that they're doing Overpass Night now. I talked about it with them a bit. I shared some tips about how to make night maps with them, and I gave them some assets from the Inferno Night map for the little glows.
Oh, perfect. Nice.
So I'm just really glad that people are making more night maps now. This is all I wanted when I was working on a decompiler. Just give people the freedom to make stuff.
Yeah, and it just gives a whole new vibe to a map. Like, yeah, it's just darker in the sky, really, and the lighting's a bit different, but it changes everything about how a map feels. Like, it's so cool.
It really depends on how good you make it. Because I feel like you can just make the sky darker and make the lighting different. But you if you have like an artistic vision and you know what you're doing, you can just give it this completely new vibe.
Mm-hmm. Like Inferno Nighttime, like you nailed that. That is a like obviously it's still the same map, but it just feels like so different. It's crazy.
hmm And same for the new After Hours map and the new map Lily is working on. They both kind of nailed the look. I think
Oh,
it's clear they
100%.
both have like an artistic vision.
Do you have any interest in creating skins as well, or are you just more of a mapper?
Oof. I mean, mm, nah, I don't think I would like making skins.
Mapping's more your profession.
Yeah, and I'm kind of a technical person, I'd say. There's like this artistic side to me, but I wouldn't really say I'm a mapper either, because to me, mapper means like the kind of people that make 2v2, 5v5 maps and spend a lot of time in making it play well
Okay.
and
More of the
just
design
stuff
side of
like
it.
that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But
Okay.
the mapping side that I like to do is more like this boundary pushing, I guess, if that's not like too much of a big term to use.
No,
I
okay, I
like
see what you're
seeing
saying.
what hasn't been done before and like just trying to figure it out. Because in CS:GO before, I used to do these custom game mode maps a lot. Back then we had scripting, so.
I gotcha.
But to get back to the original question, I don't think I could get into skins.
No.
It's much more artistic and like it's not as challenging, I guess.
Yeah,
Not
mapping
not
is
not
definitely
not
a
not to
taller
say
order.
not to say making skins is easy. It's very hard, but like I feel like there's a limited number of like interesting things you can figure out there compared to mapping.
For
Because at
sure.
the end of the day, it's still just a skin. There's been some really cool things people have done with skins, Like, did you see that gun that looks like it's a camera?
Yeah, I did see that, dude. There's some
There's a lot
crazy.
of awesome things like that you can figure out, but I guess that's just not my jam.
Not that skins are, I love skins and everything, but I love playing a good, well built map. You know what I mean? Like it's the best feeling ever. Just like, oh my god, this person knew what they're doing. Sometimes you go to the
Mhm.
workshop and you download a map and you're just like, what the fuck? Like, what am I playing right now? So when you
Oh
find like a
yes.
good map like that, like I just appreciate that so much. Like it's so fun to find something new. Especially when
Mhm.
people make like consistently make good maps. Like Lily Q's a great example of that too. I've played a bunch of her maps on stream and everything. And like I don't know where she came from. It seems like she just came out of nowhere and she just
Oh yeah,
everything she
Lily.
makes is
I
amazing.
remember. I remember when Lily was new in the Source Engine Discord and was asking these beginner questions, and I answered to her expecting nonsense. But then she was actually just like, "Okay, yeah, I'll do that. This is how it works. Thank you." And I was like, "Oh my god, someone that like actually follows advice and isn't a complete moron. Oh my god."
And look at her now. She's just killing it. So that's pretty much everything I had to ask you today. If you have anything you'd like to share with the community, or if you want to shout anybody out, I like to leave the last part of the episode to do so. So the
Ah,
floor is yours.
nice.
Feel free. Feel free to plug whatever you want.
Yeah, I will plug the Source 2 Zombie Escape server community. They have been, I think, kind of an underground community because there's just not that many people playing Zombie Escape. But they are one of the first developer communities for CS2, even when it was in beta. That's when the server started.
Oh
And
wow, I didn't know that.
they have just been killing it. They have figured out so much stuff. Like, you have to imagine, these people are so committed to making Zombie Escape, they will figure out server plugins from scratch for Source 2. Like, they have been leading most of the development for the engine on figuring out how the engine works and stuff like that, just to make
Wow.
Zombie Escape maps. Those people are mad committed.
Well, mega shout out to them then for paving the way.
And apart from that, all the developer communities like SteamDB, Mapcore, Source Engine, a lot of good stuff happening in these communities of figuring out the new stuff for the new engine.
Thank you everybody so much for tapping into another episode of the podcast. As per usual, I'll have Angel's socials put down in the description and you guys can go and check him out and show him some love and follow him and keep up to date with what he's got going on behind the scenes. Thank you guys so much for tapping into another episode. Until next time, fellas, have a good one. Peace.